Good morning, everyone. I'm an architect by profession, and we've designed a couple of LEED Platinum and Net Zero energy buildings. I just want to, touch on what smart cities is. Maybe I'm not the right person to answer you what smart cities is, but yes, I will leave you with some questions. I will share some experiences, and along the way, I'll also show you some case studies of projects where how we have retrofitted them as being from energy guzzlers to actually making them extremely energy efficient. So first and foremost question that everybody has been asking, what are smart cities? Is it that cities that use information and communication technology to deliver services to their citizen? Does it make a city smart? Or is it that these smart cities use the information and the communication technology to be more efficient in the use of resources, because we are facing the problem of resources, resulting in cost and energy saving, improved service delivery and quality of life, and at the same time reducing the environment footprint? Is it what that smart cities do? But smart cities are not enterprises. We have to understand they're dynamic. Cities are a phenomena. They're ever evolving, and they're layered with time and history. And we have to recognize and build on the already existing smartness. I say that most of the Indian villages, cities have been smart in the past. Somewhere we've kind of lost the track. So our first understanding after, during our architecture course, we went to Jaisalmer, we went to a lot of these small town and villages, and we understood they were extremely smart. And they were sustainable. And what is actually the sustainability we talk about? It means when you're able to balance the social component of the society with the environment and the economics, and it integrates and balances, that's true sustainability. Second understanding, like I said, our past ancient architecture, villages, towns were extremely smart, extremely sustainable. Look at the way they used to design for the climate. You actually don't need so much air conditioning if you design it right. They had this narrow street which would shade so nicely the buildings around the streets. It's very pleasant. You go to Jaipur and Jaisalmer today. I was there in Bikaner, last week. You walk through these small gullies. They're very cool. Lovely breeze flowing through them. They don't need all that air conditioning. The temperature inside, so we went to one of the houses of a relative. Inside, it's at least 10 to 12 degrees cooler. They were high-dense, low-rise developments because that's what people wanted, and that's less resource and energy consuming. They used to have their shops below, and they used to be staying up in the houses. So travel costs, fuel, everything was much lesser. Chowks, courtyards. In fact, I heard a beautiful presentation by a fellow architect who said that there are certain villages and towns in India existing today also. What they do is there's a beautiful chalk out there. In the morning, it is a place where prayers happen. The entire village would come together. There's a beautiful temple there. And just from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, there's a prayer which happens. After 5 o'clock, the place is clean, and the place becomes like a vegetable selling area. So people come, they buy their groceries, vegetables. And then in the afternoon, it becomes place for men folks to sit around, hang around. And in the evening, suddenly it converts into a beautiful festival and a community social space. Just look at the multiple use of a space. Isn't that smart? It's beautifully smart. So these chalks and courtyards were not only a social element, they actually served an environmental factor also because they were designed for the climate. So these actually courtyards help to shade the facade of the house. It protects from the outside dusty winds. And the evenings, people would just open the windows. The whole day, the windows are closed. And evening, they will open it so that there's a cross ventilation. And the entire hot temperature actually becomes cooled down, and people are very comfortable without air conditioning. But yes, things have changed. There has been a transition. We've moved to motorization. We expanding like anything. There's growing population, and the land is scarce. And these business centers are scattered all around. People need to travel huge distances, leading to pollution, leading to congestions. But that's not the life we all really need to live, you know. That's not the quality of life which we've all started questioning. And then the debate continues, you know, the new cities or even these cities, do we need to re-urbanize them in a way that they become very high density, high rise and compact so that it's easy to like commute? Or do they become a mix of medium density, high, because not everybody likes to live in high rise. There are a lot of people, our parents, who feel extremely, you know, cut off if they're staying in a 40-story building. They need to communicate with their neighbors. They need to be near to the ground. So is it a mix that we're really looking for? But what happens to the people, working couples? They need everything, you know, easy. They need everything which is in walking distance and comfortable. So these are a lot of questions which urban designers, urban planners are now thinking. What is that model of the new cities which we all are looking at? One thought which, you know, one unanimously kind of agreed model is that, are we looking for an integrated mixed-use development as a sustainable development model for the future? Because where traveling, commuting becomes easy, everything, you know, you know, streets are more bicycle friendly, because today, if you think of, you know, I was staying in South Ex some time back, and from South Ex to Lajpat Nagar, if I want to walk, even during winters, it's impossible. There are no streets, there are no sidewalks, there's nothing. So smartness is not about just, you know, Wi-Fiing the whole place. It's about looking at these things because it's the community needs which need to be addressed, and at the same time needs to be done in a way that helps the economic development, that also helps the environment. If along those paths and streets, if we had plantation, trees, we had area where all the road water could actually, you know, Mr. Punde would be an expert on that, but you know, if we had those kind of species of plant which would actually help us in recharging the rainwater or taking care of that stormwater runoff rather than relying on stormwater lines and gutter system, that would be very sustainable. So yes, you know, higher quality of life, better place to live. And the third, the most important understanding is nature. Extremely powerful, extremely reliable. It can transform a simple thing into poetic. It can help uplift all of our spirits. And there's enough studies done which say that, you know, if your hospitals, your study areas, your schools are all designed around nature, it helps the efficiency. It helps people recover faster. So that nature is extremely important. Wind, sun, earth, water, all this energy which is naturally available to us. If we can tap into it rather than all these artificial things that we do, it's going to be far more sustainable. And there's interconnectedness which happens in nature. The same learnings of biodiversity, balance, which needs to be incorporated in our buildings, our cities, our societies. Because what nature builds is self-sustaining. We'll talk about floods happening all over the place. It's our own fault because we are building along the floodplain. We're taking away the floodplains, the recharge areas. So that's where the issue is. So our aspiration for the future cities has to be with the nature. Nature which is timeless, which is beautiful, self-sustaining. If we can give people community social areas which are actually built with these ecological areas, you know, these ecological areas which are self-sustaining, help us recharge water, take care of our sewage naturally, and while giving us beautiful social spaces, there can nothing be more economical and ecologically sustainable than that. So if we can bring that nature back by designing our environment, urban environment, that respects and engages the natural system, by bringing ecological environment aesthetically to create more beautiful social spaces, it will give a sense of belonging and pride to all of us. So that integration becomes very important. This is a very beautiful example where in Seoul, you know, they had this very nice development along a little, you know, canal. But what they did was they built flyovers there and just covered this lovely little rivulet which they had. There was life taken out of that place completely. Then the government went back and rejuvenated this area. You see, they brought that nature back. The biodiversity, fishes and all. Kids love to be in this area. It's a beautiful social community which is thriving now. A lot of restaurants have opened here. So it gave it, economic development to that place, boom to that place, while taking care of the ecology. Then this is Atlanta lifeline belt, which they call it as. They had these scattered villages and then abandoned railway road system, which they have rejuvenated again. So there are a lot of parks, a lot of walking trails, a lot of bicycle lines they have, done around the area. So a lot of restaurants are starting opening now. This will connect all the villages. Then this is an example. I'll just go back. This example on the right, left bottom, is actually from New York. What they had was, this was a railroads highway kind of a system. Sorry, so this was a meat packing district where there was, the railway which used to transport the goods, but then it was not used anymore. They converted it into a park. Now what has happened is, a lot of people in the evening take a walk here. All the rainwater is actually, recirculated through these plants, and it is a social, lovely place which has got formed. So these are enough examples of how you can do something with benefit to the environment, benefit to the people, and done in a very economical way. And believe me, sustainable infrastructure like this with integrated smart technology, will facilitate a place or region towards goals of sustainability. So I'll just go to a few examples. This is a project which we did. It's about a 9 lakh square feet area. It's one of the 10 largest LEED Platinum projects in the world. And it was done all in 1.5 years. Now here, instead of making one tall building, which the developer wanted, we convinced him that don't make one tall rise structure, because if you make a tall glass structure, it'll just absorb too much heat, and it'll be not sustainable. So we made 3 buildings which mutually shade each other. We created a plaza at the ground level. We put water bodies along the wind direction to cool naturally, this area. So it becomes a lovely social space. It gives visibility, transparency to the complete campus, and actually we call it a nature's walk. It's a lovely place actually where people sit around, and like generally about 150 square feet area, you air condition by 1 ton of air conditioning. Here we achieved 800 square feet area air conditioned by just 1 ton of air conditioning. That's the amount of energy we saved while giving a beautiful campus to the people who actually work here. So these are energy simulation models which can predict you on day 1 how much energy your building will need, what is the shading system your facade will need to shade or cut off the glare which comes into the building, how you can naturally daylight the building throughout the day without relying on the artificial light. So that's how we actually, and how much insulation you actually need. So that actually helped us to save all the energy this building was actually going to consume. And then this is another campus, Patni campus, where again it's designed around courtyards. Again, the inspiration from our past. We have water bodies, jalis to cool the wind which comes into this area. The building's facade shades, each other to reduce the heat which comes into the building. The walls are well insulated. So these are computer simulation models, and there are far more things which we did. We pre-cool the fresh air which comes. We reduce the air conditioning load to 1/3 of what it needs. You see this interiors of this place is completely daylit naturally. And then we do pre-cooling, free cooling, using LED lights, reducing the lighting power density to the bare minimum. So these were the initial buildings which we did, and every time the endeavor was to reduce the energy consumption of this building to the bare minimum. Water consumption, resource consumption, entire waste which came out of the stones and everything was used within the building into the planters and landscape area. All the cement bories which came, were filled with earth. The cement was used, filled with earth and used as retaining wall. The complete waste area was used within this thing. There was not even a single truck of waste which went out. That's smartness. And then this is a new project, a retrofit. Okay, this is a retrofit project. This is the building which was existing. Too much glass, not any light inside. I'll just show you the inside picture. This is what it was existing. You don't see no view to the people outside, no light coming into the building. So this is the initial interiors, we went ahead and we wanted to create a contemporary collaborative kind of space. So what we did was we got the cafeteria on the ground floor, we opened, in fact, we reduced the amount of glass than what it was before, and we ensured that the building is completely naturally lit, and you don't need artificial light as much as possible during the day. So these are a few pictures. I'll just rush to the pictures. These are the facade studies to see that, how you can really cut off the glare and heat which comes in. Because what happens is when people have glare on the screen, they will again put the blinds and the light will be cut off. So these are the shading, studies done, and this is what it looks like. Completely, glare-free building and lovely outdoor spaces for people. The west side was blocked off. We reduced the glass on the west side. This is the atrium, getting the glare-free light. So these are all the transient spaces. Again, you see the quality of light, completely diffuse light which comes in, LED lights used within the system. Nobody uses blinds anymore. So a few more projects of housing where again, ensuring that each apartments get cross ventilation and sunlight as well as shading. And then last project I would like to show you is Shunya. This was done 5-6 years back. It's a house which consumes no electricity from the grid. All of us can live sustainably. All of us can do these simple measures to ensure that our footprint on the earth is bare minimum. This is made completely of waste, 4 waste containers around a courtyard, getting in natural light. If you see the outside, very little glazing. It's not a glass house because that's not what our climate, especially in this part of the region, needs. So completely waste materials used within the building, whether it was furniture, whether it was the main house, whether it was anything. And then it's designed around this lovely courtyard, which is source of light and ventilation. And then, so we have solar panels on the top. So first and foremost, what we did was reduce the energy consumption of the house by the proper orientation, by proper window wall ratios, roof insulation, every step of the way, reducing the energy consumption of the house. If you see that on the top, you see the savings, the window assembly, energy efficient glass, window wall ratio, daylight controls, shading devices, everything amounted to savings 60 to 70%. So if generally houses consume 6 to 7 watts per square feet, this house consumed only 1.25 watts, 2 to 6 watts per square feet. And that little energy that it needs was supplied by the solar panels. So it's been running without any external source of electricity. And more than that, it's got its own vegetable garden. So where it's got its composting pit, everything is close to recycling. So zero, everything is like kind of zero there. And if this same concept, zero food cycle, zero waste, zero water, this can be taken as a model for all the development we're going to be doing in future. Then, so this is all waste furniture actually, remodel from Kabadi Bazaar, vegetable garden. So then we can all envision India as a zero bill society, utility bills, zero waste, zero water, minimal carbon footprint, an earth-friendly society, a net positive society. And we envision India, Shunya. It says, Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, for benefit of all, for well-being of all, for upliftment of all. Thank you so much.